lot of people are probably familiar with the rice terraces in Bali. What they're probably less familiar with is that behind this is a unique cultural system called the subak. The subak system organizes the water distribution from the volcanoes to the water temples to the farmers in an egalitarian way.
And that makes it a unique case study of traditional water management that is not only good for the environment but also really good for people. By definition, a very sustainable way of managing the landscape, and this was developed way before we even knew about the concept of sustainable development.
In the society section, we investigate how earth and environmental systems have shaped Balinese society over hundreds of years, and how people have likewise impacted these systems. As an example, we use satellite imagery to look at land use on the island and how that's been changing in the past few decades. We also look at water quality and how that changes from upstream to downstream. And we then interview people to try to understand what are the drivers of those changes.
In the news, we always see very negative human-environmental interactions, but with the subaks, it's managed by farmers themselves, and they go through this philosophy called Trihita Karana, which is harmony with God, nature, and also people. So it is through this philosophy and through them, subaks have managed to stay resilient even in the face of climate change and also even in the face of economic development.
The social aspect of environment is precisely the hardest to study because it's the most dynamic and probably the most contentious and complicated front. And I think that's precisely why we need to deal with people, we need to deal with the society, because that is what going to make people change their behaviors.
So I think for us, especially in Singapore, we are very sheltered. Really, we don't get to see where the water comes from. Many of us don't have that kind of spiritual level connection or even a very strong mental connection to where our water comes from, and we should respect our water sources.
If you're spontaneous, adventurous, open-minded, this course is really for you because I think it's one of the only courses that offers such diverse experiences.
It's also really about getting them to understand in a more nuanced way the environmental issues that they will need to solve.
All these things are connected, and we need to be careful about the ways that we impact them.
What we study is not just theory, and they need to be channeled into concrete actions. They need to be communicated properly to different stakeholders so that all this knowledge that we are learning can come together and make a difference.